Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Kettle Radio. It's the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage, and I'm really glad that you are here. Now, I promised to share on the air this morning. I promised to share a little bit more news about Senator John Fetterman. Where did that come from? I'm looking at my links here. Got some stories regarding Senator John Fetterman. I want to show you, first of all, just the headlines. Senator John Fetterman raises alarms with an outburst at a union meeting. Fetterman frustrated with invasive discussion of medical issues, which I think is reasonable. I have another story that I'm going to share with you coming up. We'll run a bit of video where he's being asked these questions. So apparently he had an outburst with meetings at this union meeting, and this is what is alarming people. And there were stories even prior to this. So that's the look at some of the stories that are out there. Let's dive into them. And one of the reasons I'm bringing attention to this, there are a couple of reasons. John Fetterman had a stroke right before the election. He won the election anyway. And Fetterman, I think since his stroke, he's got some issues that I do not have, that he has been battling with as a result of his stroke. And so now it's raising these questions as to, what's going on. Somebody who's been through a stroke, I can tell you, takes a little bit of time. You're not immediately, you're dealing, this is your new reality, okay? And you're having to deal with that. And it took me a little bit of time. And I think it's taken John Fetterman a little bit of time. The difference here is, I'm not suddenly, he is finding his voice more often, and sometimes, I won't say often, but he is at odds with his Democrat counterparts, because the Democrats largely, lock, stock, and barrel, not only have they moved to the far left, man, they've gone over the cliff. I mean, they are so far left, they're off the edge of the earth. They are plummeting into oblivion. That's where the Democrat Party is at. John Fetterman is left, but he's not crazy nonsense, off your rocker left. And the way the Democrats are demonizing him right now is absolutely incredible. I also don't think it's surprising that they do that to anybody on the left. And so with him, it's his stroke, and now he's changed since his stroke. And first of all, a stroke changes your reality. And so, your ability to be able to maybe speak as eloquently, maybe as you once did. There are a lot of things you have to learn after your stroke. And in my case, but I had Katie to help me through all that. What it doesn't do is suddenly change your personality, right? I think you can attest, those of you who are longtime listeners of the Greg Belfrage Show can attest to the fact that I didn't immediately change after my stroke in terms of the things I believed and what I hold close and my principles, and those things didn't change. Did I have trouble expressing them? Yes, and sometimes I still do. But that was the case before the stroke. Stroke didn't help me any in those terms. So let's take a look at what's going on with Senator Fetterman here and what people are saying. Fetterman being frustrated. This Yahoo News, it's actually a Fox News piece right here. Fetterman frustrated with the invasive discussion of medical issues. So now is he going to this? And this was earlier this week. CNN reporter Tuesday questioning whether he was going to step down because of the scathing allegations about his health in New York Magazine report. Again, I want to remind you, and I mentioned this on the air, New York Magazine is uber left. They are uber left. So, of course, the uber left is upset with John Fetterman when he sounds rational. Sometimes he's out there, he sounds rational. For instance, Israel. Fetterman has been out there, been very consistent, talking about, supporting Israel and so on. Fetterman has been out there decrying some of the campus protests and the nonsense that we have seen coming from leftists on university campuses. He's one of the few Democrats out there sounding reasonable when those things happen. Again, I'm not saying he's suddenly conservative or Republican. I'm not even saying he's in the center. But he clearly is out of step with the far left uber, mentality that we're seeing in the Democratic Party at large. So what do? They do the same thing they do to Republicans, they do to conservatives, they demonize them. And that's what they're doing right now to Democrat John Fetterman. And it's absolutely incredible. So he's being asked about this, one thing that's different, Fetterman was being treated for depression, and he said that was a hit piece. So now CNN asking if he was, are you taking your medication? Are you taking your medication? Do you intend on staying in office? And so he turned to that and went after the New York Magazine report. Now, New York Magazine talked to a few people inside the Fetterman team, and this is what they're saying. And some of that is coming from former staffers. Well, what do you think they're doing? They got an axe to grind. They're just out there demonizing him. It's pretty incredible. So, and I think, you saw the same thing happen to Bill Maher. Bill Maher, who is in no way a conservative, in no way a Trump supporter. And Bill Maher is out there, goes to the White House and has a dinner with Trump and says, Trump is, it was a pleasant, but Bill Maher's not changing his point of view. He's not suddenly out there supporting Republicans. I mean, it's not like there was some kind of conversion. They didn't, he didn't, shoot the, the beams out of Trump's fingers and totally mesmerize Bill Maher. You just watch the reaction from the left. These people just off the wall nuts. And it doesn't matter who they go after. You are not in lockstep with them. You are the problem. And Senator John Fetterman, seriously, I think, Steve, you mentioned in the comments prior to the show, that he is, how did you put it? He's not moving to the center. And I agree. He just is saying things that aren't crazy. That in and of itself is refreshing because Democrats largely, they're nuts. It's just absolutely just wild. I'm trying to see. I had a number of stories. There was some reaction. He was Okay. There was a story from the AP, Associated Press now, in these union meetings. So he was meeting with representatives from a teachers union. And he, according to New York Magazine and some of the, before long, Fetterman began repeating himself, shouting and questioning, why is everybody mad at me? Why does everybody hate me? What did I ever do? And he got frustrated, slammed his hands on a desk. Okay, first of all, do you know anything about teachers' unions? I'm just asking. Do you personally know anything about teachers' unions? It's generally, that's about as left as it gets. I am not saying all teachers are on the left. No, I've known a number of them who are quite conservative in their views. I'm talking about teachers' unions. They're pretty far left, generally speaking. Ever heard of Randy Weingarten? Go take a look at some of the absolute off-the-wall just stuff that's coming out of her mouth. So Fetterman, in the midst of that, who is not totally taking leave of his senses yet, reacting to that, it's absolutely amazing. And so the headlines are out there, Fetterman and what he's saying and what he's doing. It's pretty incredible. And again, as I said, as somebody who has had a stroke, there's a certain kinship that I kind of feel with John Fetterman. Excuse me. Certain kinship that I feel with him as a stroke survivor myself. And still really, really glad to be here and to be able to, converse with you and share my thoughts. But as somebody who's been through a stroke, it takes a little bit of time. The way that they are attacking him, though, it's absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. They will eat their own. Absolutely. And you see this going on with John Fetterman. Is what the Democrats have become. It's not the Democratic Party of my youth. I would say this is not even the Democratic Party of 20 years ago. They have absolutely devolved and they have lost themselves. And it's incredible. And you see that in their reaction to Senator John Fetterman and all of these hit pieces that are out there. I want to thank Darren. Darren sent me an email this morning, and this is a video on Facebook. And this is a young woman who's talking about why she walked away from the Democrat Party. And she was a true believer of the Democrat Party and why she walked away. And it is pretty compelling. Let's start this.
The reason I am so critical of the Democratic Party right now is because I literally just left it, just like a lot of other people. I was a bleeding heart liberal like all of you. I mean, blue hair and everything.
Blue hair.
I mean, believe me, I have plenty of pictures proving that I was all in. If you would have asked me a year ago, I would have said there is no way in hell I will ever vote for Donald Trump. But let me tell you what changed my mind. The big moment for me was when the left started trying to push this like Nazi, Hitler, fascism narrative that they're trying to push right now. Like what y'all actually did is made a lot of us really go research Trump even harder. And we started to realize that a lot of things that you guys had shown us about Trump and things that he had said were taken way out of context. A lot of us started noticing a pattern where you guys were showing us like little 10-second clips of a 10-minute conversation that did not reflect the entirety of that conversation at all. So that was number one. Okay. And then around Thanksgiving.
And what have I told you repeatedly? They take this little bit of what Trump has said. They will take this very brief portion of a clip and they show that and they beat the hell out of that and they don't show you the rest. And you see the rest and you're able to put it in context. That's what the media smear machine does all of the time. Now, this young woman has realized this. And it's pretty incredible. Let's let her. It's quite a long video. I won't share all of it, but it's pretty wild. She continues.
All of a sudden, you guys are telling us that it would be better for us to sit at home and spend the holidays with no one than it would be to go home to your family who voted for Trump.
Do you remember that? Because I talked about it. They were doing that. They were saying, your family voted for Trump and you're not a Trump supporter and it would be better for you to stay home. And I was like blown away by this. And so was this young woman.
When I heard that, I was like, okay, now y'all are wilding, because you cannot tell me that it is better for your mental health to sit at home.
Oh, sorry. Bump my keyboard.
Alone than it is to go and spend time with your friends and family. Y'all had actual therapists getting on TV and telling you guys this. And the sad thing is that it would have been better for them to encourage you to do something like find other people that believe the same as you to spend the holidays with, but they didn't. They told you to stay in your home and spend the holidays with no one. When that happened, I was like, okay, I got to give this party a second look, because something is not right here. But honestly, if you want to know the truth, what really did it for me is realizing how freaking depressed I was when I was functioning as a liberal. Liberalism will literally make you hate yourself. It will make you hate your family. It will make you hate your friends. It will make you hate everything about the world. And I'm not saying that you should just be ignorant to everything that is going on in the world, but the way that the left chooses to internalize everything that is going on in the world is detrimental to their mental health.
And this is just absolutely incredible. I'm going to leave that there. But it's a really, really intriguing piece. So here you've got this young woman. Forgive me, I didn't catch her name. This young woman who's talking about what she went through, and she was a true believer, and you see her there, blue hair and everything, and how she changed. I think she goes on to talk about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and what he's doing with health. And she's like, expressing support for RFK Jr. And she says, I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm vaccinated. My children are vaccinated, but she likes RFK Jr. The same kind of demonization. It's absolutely incredible. I don't think we have seen anything like this, until the last few years. And the things that are happening, I think there's a lot of darkness in sin. It's sinister what we see happening. And she's absolutely right. She saw it. She voted for Trump, explaining why she wound up voting for Trump. And those are the people, man. Those are the people that made the difference. Really, because guys like me, I was going to vote for Trump. Hardly a shock to you when I said I'm out there, I'm supporting Trump again. And you're like, well, of course you are. I mean, what else are you, conservative or Republican? It was never a surprise that conservatives or Republicans voted for Trump. What was amazing was that she voted for Trump, and that you had people like her who started. Again, I appreciate when people are taking a hard look at what's going on and discovering, as she did, first of all, the absolute lies that the media is telling, how the media will do that, as she described. They will take a very short portion of what Trump said, and then they'll start demonizing him with that. And then you hear the whole thing and you go, well, that's not what he said or meant at all. I mean, how many times have I said that on the radio show to you? They do. That's what they do. It's what they do. And it's not only unfortunate. I mean, it just absolutely drive you crazy. I wanted to share that because I thought you might find it meaningful. And forgive me, I think I mentioned who sent it to me, but I want to thank him. I would not have found that on my own. So as we were talking about Fetterman, Steve, talking about Fetterman, keyword is sounds reasonable. He is yet to vote reasonable, and he's not going to. I mean, he's a Democrat, which is why, look at, he's in with the teachers union, and they're beating the hell out of him, and he's like, what are you upset about? Why are all of you people upset? They are for the very reason that young woman just illustrated. It's just a dark place to be. And you look at Trump, he is the antithesis of that. Not saying that I even agree with Trump all the time. I don't. This whole issue with Canada, we talked about that, Canada, 51st state. That's Donald Trump being the developer. That's Donald Trump being the deal maker. That's who he is. And you're going to get that with Trump, whether you like it or don't. I mean, there are things that Donald Trump says that I don't agree with. Not that many. I got to be honest. More often than not, Trump makes up for it when he's right on, man. When he is right on and hits the mark, and which he does a lot. Just absolutely incredible. Trying to see some of your other comments. Edgy. Radical ideologues will always eat their own. There's not wholehearted agreement. The Democratic fundamentalists will not tolerate dissent with their cult-like beliefs. It's the feeling of many. And some comments here about the teachers' unions as well. David saying Stalin's inner circle kept getting smaller while he was in power. Yeah, absolutely right. It's pretty crazy. John, hey, good morning, John. I've seen Fetterman in a suit recently, which I appreciated. The hoodie for a Senate member is just wrong. He's still wearing hoodies. In fact, because I was looking at a recent clip with him where he was responding, and forgive me, I meant to have that, and I think I closed it. Where he was responding to these questions. And again, it's coming from New York Magazine. And he just said, and one of the reasons I didn't share the video is it was sideways. He said, yeah, I'm just not going to respond to that. And then they persist. And he's like, and I agree with this. Even if you're a public person, there are some things that need to remain public. That's his private medical history. It's his private medical history. If it's not, what they're trying to do is saying it's impacting his job. It's impacting his ability to be able to reason. I don't believe that that's true at all. I don't think that's true at all. He's just not crazy like the rest of the party is right now. I mean, they have gone off the deep end. And they're sitting there and they're wondering why John Fetterman has not gone over the edge with them. All right, we're going to leave it there today. You have made it to the end of the video, so you are part of my gallery of champions. A big thank you. Special salute to the bunker crowd, the bunker brigade that's here each and every day. They're commenting, sharing their thoughts, and that is, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here. So let's leave it there for now. Until tomorrow, I'm underground and gone.